Training Camp Podcast. You're listening to Ken. I'm joined by Paul and RJ. RJ, how you doing?
Pretty good. I'm excited to be here.
And Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
Oh, good. All right, so RJ, why don't you give us a little bit of rundown about what level you are and what you've been kind of doing recently in Pokemon Go?
So today, I just hit level 21.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
So I don't have a car, so like I can't go on trips to like find Pokemon or anything.
Uh-huh.
So mostly I play in my little town and I play at work. So I work at NASA Goddard, and so it's a big facility. And there are a bunch of Pokestops. There's like 5 or 6 gyms. There's a gym right in my building. So mostly when I play, I just walk around town and I walk around at work. Recently, though, there used to be like no Pokemon at work, but since the last update, things actually show up now, so it's a lot more exciting.
Nice.
Okay, that's good. Did you, so I don't know if this happened to either of you, and I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast yet, but my work sent out like a PSA about Pokemon Go. Did I mention that on the podcast already?
I honestly can't even remember,
Okay.
but
Well, apparently people have been, and I looked it up on Twitter, and apparently people have been taking pictures and hashtagging my company with augmented reality pictures of Pokemon.
Mhm.
And they were
oh
like,
my.
okay guys, we all know this is like a fun game, but we can't be taking pictures around our facilities because there's like, proprietary, information and equipment around here. And I looked up Twitter. I was like, oh man, what is this? So I was like, okay, so hashtag GE and Pokemon Go. And someone was like, took a picture of, I guess it was just like a Pidgeotto in the parking lot somewhere in some other state. And they were like, hashtag GE, hashtag productivity. And I'm like, oh god.
Oh no.
I was like, no. But have you gotten any of those, RJ?
The only thing I saw was like the day it came out, someone sent out an email like, look out for kids walking in the middle of the street. That was about it.
Yeah, that's an issue. Don't get hit by a fucking car, pretty much.
That is true. That is very true.
But so what do you? So you said that you normally kind of just, I guess, walk around to try and look for Pokemon. But is there any place where you just kind of go sit or maybe like go for a walk that you actually find a lot?
There's a lake right by my place. It's like a street or two away, and there's a lot of water Pokemon there. And there's a little peninsula that like shoots out in the lake, and it has like 3 or 4 Pokestops on it, so it's like the perfect place to put a lure module.
Oh wow!
And there's like there's
Nice.
side ducks, slow pokes, a lot of Magikarp. I've seen one or few Dratinis down there,
Ooh.
but that's really like the only interesting place near me.
Gotcha. I'm kind of in that same situation. I have to drive downtown of where I am to be able to actually get anything that's moderately rare. But yeah, I mean, have you actually? What's like the biggest? What was the biggest kind of like Pokemon victory that you've had recently?
I don't find like anything good, honestly. All my top Pokemon have been from eggs, and I've been really lucky.
Oh,
I got
wow.
like 5 or 6 10K eggs so far,
Wow.
and I've gotten an Aerodactyl from one that's pretty good.
Wow.
I've gotten 2 Jinxes.
Nice.
Oh man.
I recently got a Magmar out of one. So like hatching eggs is like really what I try to do, because I don't find anything interesting, and all the good stuff I get is from eggs.
So you've hatched a good amount of 10K eggs already?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So
yeah, you
so
really
do
do
you,
walk
like-
everywhere.
Yeah. So you go? Do you go on walks purposefully to actually like go hatch eggs?
I haven't recently, but when it first came out, I did it all the time. I know like my little block, if you walk around it 4 times, it'll hatch a 2K egg. And so
Oh, you got it down.
sometimes if I have a 2K one that I just want to hatch real quick, I'll just go outside and walk in a circle.
Wow, nice. That's good. Paul, what about you? Have you had any good Pokemon victories recently?
Well, I did. So I just recently went on a vacation, a little mini weekend getaway down to North Carolina, um, and along there I did hatch a couple of eggs. Me and a mutual group of friends, we went down there and we were walking along the beach basically and hatched a couple of I think they were two 2 kilometer eggs, um, and I just ended up getting a couple of relatively common ones, but ones that I don't see where I'm at. That I got a horsey and I got an oddish. I don't have any oddish up up in Danbury where I am,
Oh
but
wow.
so that was actually nice to get something like that. But apparently they're common everywhere else. But so that was nice, and that also kind of helped me accomplish the fitness goal for hatching a couple of eggs this week. But
Nice.
but otherwise, while I was down there, I mean, I'm already kind of used to a lot of water Pokemon. I kind of am in a similar living situation to RJ, is what it sounds like. I live on a little creek that I guess is big enough to be riverfront property. So I get so there are plenty of like Goldines and Shelders, and I've gotten a couple Psyduck and all sorts of a couple of Magikarp as well up here. But there were definitely plenty of water Pokemon down in North Carolina as well where I was. You know, we got some more Shelder and Goldeen, but I also saw like Tentacools, and um, I was really holding out to see if I could find a Lapras, a Lapras. I still don't know how to pronounce that 20 years
I say
later.
Lapras. I
Okay.
think it's Lapras.
Yeah, Lapras.
Okay, Lapras. But I was really hoping to find a nice Lapras, but I couldn't find anything.
Around me, I see a lot of gyms get dominated by like Snorlaxes and Lapras.
Yeah, no,
And you
me
gotta
too.
get
And I've
really
still
lucky
never.
and hatch one of those. I think you can only get them out of 10k eggs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I still have yet to even pick up a 10K egg. I've really just, I have a handful of 5K eggs
I've
that,
had multiple people tell me that they've never gotten a 10k egg,
yeah.
and I must have just got real lucky, or the game knew I don't go out and I don't get anywhere to get good stuff.
Yeah, I've never gotten a 10k egg. I've only gotten 2 and 5s.
Uh, so yeah, I'm jealous of all your 10K eggs. But yeah, I did. There was one like really random. I don't know what, like, I caught a level 235 Goldeen. I don't think I've ever seen a Goldeen that high before,
Wow.
but I caught that along the coast, so that was kind of strange. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what's new and exciting for me in the immediate time frame. What about you?
Cool.
Anything else crazy?
So what I normally do is I try to take walks around my company parking lot at work during the lunchtime, and I've been really trying to use that to hatch eggs because there's no Pokemon around there, so I wouldn't really find any. But I really would like I try to do that to hatch eggs, but for some reason around that area, um, my it like freezes like when I have the app open and stuff, and
Hmm.
I'll be looking around trying to pan around. It just will freeze. My touchscreen just won't work anymore. Like it'll show me
Yeah,
walking.
I've noticed that happening too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have
and
any
that's
idea of what would cause that?
I don't know, like the game used to be really, really, really unstable,
Mm-hmm.
but ever since the last update, I noticed that it's a lot better. Like I don't freeze in gym battles anymore. I don't freeze after getting a Pokemon in a ball and waiting to see if you catch it and then it freezes. That doesn't happen anymore.
yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll go look at the app and I'll try to click on something or swing around, and the touchscreen doesn't work.
Huh.
Yeah, I've definitely
So
that's
I don't
happened to
know.
me
It
as
might
well.
just be a thing.
Okay. Yeah. Usually. Oh, also one thing is too is that I can listen to a podcast and do Pokemon Go at the same time, but I can't. As soon as I open Pokemon Go, my podcast shuts off. So I have to like do this very strict order of things where I change my like dim setting to like 10 minutes, and then so it doesn't. I think one reason for it freezing sometimes, or the touchscreen not working, is when the screen dims and it comes back. Sometimes that's when it freezes. So I don't have it dimmed. I have to like hold it in my hand, just to make sure that I'm like looking and touching the screen enough that it's not going to go out. And so mostly I just do it to hatch eggs. When I go for my walks, but that's still part of my fitness goal, is to make sure that I get out and walk during the day. And I think it's about, I don't know how far it is, like in terms of miles or meters or whatever, but it's around, I think, like 3,000 or 4,000 steps, because I have my Samsung Galaxy, so it has like a fit tracker app thing in it, so I have a good idea of how far that is. And so that's usually my egg hatching time. But recently, at least once a week, and I really want to try and make it 2 or 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go for runs on that one path that I've mentioned before in the podcast that totally kicks my ass every time. And this time, good Lord, this time today, I went running today as soon as I got home from work, and it was probably about like 95, 97 degrees outside.
Ugh.
Super, super humid. Like, I'm talking about like you just walked into a shower that was on full blast hot, like, in the bathroom.
With a little fire in the
sauna,
corner.
like,
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, exactly. It was so hot. There was sweat in my eyes and it was burning like crazy. And I didn't find anything today. I just got, rattatas and Pidgeys, and I think like one Nidoran, and I hatched like a Zubat. So it was like, in terms of actual success in Pokemon, it was pretty. I mean, all I got was, some stuff to kind of trade in for candy.
It's a total
or
slap in the face, yeah.
It really is. But basically, I go on the walk. It passes a huge soccer field complex. In it is one Pokestop. There's tons of Pokemon on the field, but you're not allowed on them unless you're like a super elite soccer player, because there's like literally 20 fields all sponsored by companies, and they're like no trespassing, and this is the whatever sponsored field. And I'm just like, oh, I just hit the one Pokestop that's near this like little memorial thing, and get my Pokeballs and just keep running. And overall, I feel like it's a really good run. Today was a day that I'm super surprised I couldn't stop, or that I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And start walking or anything, even though I kind of have to stop to catch Pokemon sometimes. But it was nuts, like as far as a workout goes. But that's like I said, that's part of my fitness goals in terms of the Pokemon Go podcast, the training camp fitness goals that we're going with.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I need to start getting on that train, because I've been putting it on recently.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up. Is there anything necessarily that you would have any fitness goals? Like, what exactly would you do to either hatch eggs or catch Pokemon?
I would just leave my house first. For once,
that's a big first step. That's a big first step.
Because I've been down to that lake a few times to get, all those water Pokemon. But I need to actually go down there, like, at least once a week and, like, go for a run. Because when I go out at work, I walk, because I'm not going to run like an idiot at work. But, yeah, I need to actually, like, set a plan and go down that lake. Because it's a nice little, like, park with a lake in it, and has a big old trail, and there's a bunch of stops, and it would just, I've been kind of putting it on recently, to be honest. So
well, that's good. You can join the fitness club then.
Exactly.
We're going to be in the future trying to get even more people involved and kind of set a team goal of getting out there, either going for a jog or a walk. And I wish there was other ways to connect Pokemon Go to other fitness things, like if you were to do sit-ups or something, because I've also wanted to kind of get actual muscle growth and good workout stuff like that.
As great as cardio is, yeah, exactly. If there was there's a way to fight at the gym while you're at the gym, then that would be ideal.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. So next time you're on the podcast, we'll see how you did and if you lived up to your fitness goals for the podcast. And
great.
We'll get your input.
We're holding
now there's
accountable.
Expectations.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's a big point of it, is we got to keep ourselves accountable and get each other in shape.
Well, at least that means I get to come back.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So far we've kind of in past episodes, we've given our past experience and our past kind of past love and origin stories of Pokemon, where we came from in terms of what we enjoyed about the franchise in the past. Where did you start, RJ, with Pokemon? Like, what was kind of your thing with Pokemon?
So, so I've been playing Pokemon for literally 18 years. Like that's how
Holy
long it's been
crap!
now. I started when the games first came out in when I was in first grade. I remember the very first time I played Pokemon. Do you remember Julia Skorliski?
Maybe.
Yeah, the name sounds
She was
familiar.
playing it at like recess or something, and like I knew about Pokemon. I really wanted to see it, and I asked her if I could play it, and she let me start a new game as long as I didn't save it real quick.
Hmm.
And that's the first experience I've ever had with Pokemon. And sure
Huh.
enough, I think that was in like September. My birthday's in October, and so I asked my mom for Pokemon Red, and Jake asked for Pokemon Blue, and we wanted it so bad, and we annoyed her so much that she finally just gave it to us like 2 weeks early.
Oh wow.
But yeah, ever since then, like I've kept up with every single generation. Even now, I still breed competitive Pokemon to play online. I just recently started playing the trading card game online. Uh,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah,
The trading card game's online now.
yep, and it's free.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you
Whoa.
ever want to check it out.
Whoa.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Did you did you watch the show at all when you were younger?
I did when I was a kid. I didn't like keep up on it. Like I watched it when it was a popular thing to do, and it was on like every day. But I liked it as a kid, but I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of it. Like if I went back and watched it now, I don't know how I'd feel about it exactly.
Hmm.
It is corny as hell for sure. I'm like I think I'm 10 episodes in because I started watching Indigo League on Netflix, and I've been actually it's something that's really good to throw on because it's only 20 minutes long. It's super lighthearted for the most part. I mean, I was just watching an episode where they were like literally shooting a bazooka at a Dragonite. Like literally, I was kind of uncomfortable with that, to be honest. But that yeah, but most of the time it's lighthearted, and I actually shared a short clip of this something from the a clip of the Squirrel Squad. I watched that episode recently and shared that on the Instagram story thing. That was actually pretty funny. Yeah, but so you've been I mean we hung out in high school and I remember you actually like going and getting the games when they came out and
Yep.
like I mentioned in a previous episode, you kind of showed me, what has been new with the series in terms of garbage Pokemon, literally garbage Pokemon, and all this crazy stuff. I was took a huge break from Pokemon when you showed me that. So it was really crazy to see how far the games came in terms of graphics and new Pokemon and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So that was crazy. Yeah. So also, another question that I was curious about, and since you listened to the past episodes, I want to get your intake on if you were if you were to subscribe to a certain type of Pokemon that, and I don't know if you've ever did this in the games or if you're able to do this in the games. What kind of type do you think you would subscribe to?
It would be, and it's always been, 100% grass type.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Why is that?
It's just every single game, every single generation, I always pick the grass starter. I don't know what it is.
Huh?
It's not even for any particular reason. I just really like grass Pokemon.
Oh, really? Did your brothers pick like fire and water, so you like ended up picking grass, or you do just like grass a lot?
It was just the first one I picked. Was of course Bulbasaur.
Uh huh.
Bulbasaur was like my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. Uh, and just every single time, I always liked the grass starter the best.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. I'm with you
Nice.
there. I mean, I was never in for it because they were powerful or because they were. I mean, I consider them pretty special, but I always kind of just gravitated towards them as well, just because of the attitude that is around them, and they're just a cool type, and I feel like I'm not like trying to be cool by liking grass. Like I'm not like, yeah, fire's the best, or
Well, of
like.
course you're not cool for liking grass.
Yeah,
Nobody's cool for liking grass. It's just
yeah.
a thing.
Uh-huh. You gotta. It's the same reason why I chose Team Instinct, is because it was against the grain. It was against the flow.
There's a
It was
level
it
of
was something
pride
different.
to it,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder though. I don't know if I brought this up before, but why did they decide to go fire, or I guess Valor Mystic? Why was it lightning and not grass type as like the third team?
Well, they just did it like, modeled over the legendary birds.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's true.
And
Well, why?
originally, whenever in the beta of Pokemon Go, like people were
Uh-huh.
playing that, originally it wasn't Team Instinct, Team Valor, Team Mystic. It was just boring red, blue, yellow.
Oh, okay.
So I think
Okay.
they made it red, blue, yellow just because those are, primary colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then later someone was like, "Yo, this is really boring. Like, can we try to do something?" They were like, "Okay, well, we'll make them the legendary birds."
Oh, really?
I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
Okay. Well, well, that's interesting. I mean, they could have gone the starter Pokemon and just said like, red, blue, and green instead of doing the legendary birds. But then that makes me think, why didn't they model the legendary birds after the starters, and why they included lightning instead of grass? That just throws everything off for me. The OCD person myself is just like, why is that? Why is there that skip? Is grass that lame that they had to change it out
Nobody
for
wants to
electric
be
type?
grass.
I told you, nobody wants to
Oh
be
my
grass.
god.
If there was a grass legendary Pokemon, nobody would want it. They'd just go to the other ones.
Ah, a grass type bird would probably be kind of, what the heck would they even do?
Yeah, I don't
The new
know.
the new starter for Sun and Moon, the grass type starter is it's a little owl. It's grass flying.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
really?
And there's all the what are they called? The Alola forms or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are hilarious. Execute with like a super, or executor with a super long neck.
That's the best one.
What is that? What is that supposed to mean? Explain that to me. That they like take on different weird forms like that.
I don't know. I think it's just something they're doing with the new games. Like the new games they're based after Hawaii.
Right.
So I guess they took Executor, who already looks like a palm tree, and they were like, "Well, this is kind of a Hawaiian thing. Let's make him just crazy and new."
But he's not the only one that can take that form, though, right?
Yeah, because like Vulpix and Sandshrew,
Uh huh.
they got new different ice type forms,
Oh, really?
which doesn't make sense
Huh.
with the Hawaiian theme to me.
Not
Right.
But I think
particularly,
they're just
no.
trying to spice it up some.
Interesting.
Huh.
They look really
Okay.
cool though.
Ah. I'm gonna have to check that out. I looked into it a little bit, but there's a huge following around Sun and Moon coming out. A lot. I see that a lot of people are excited about it. You're definitely gonna get it, right, RJ?
Of course.
Yeah. I don't even have a 3DS or anything. I kind of gave up on that a while ago.
Yeah, I never got around to getting one either. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, if Pokemon Go gets more and more exciting, and they add, battling between, people real time, trading, and all that kind of stuff, this could be like pretty exciting. And then after that, they can just add even more Pokemon and just. I mean, that's a huge reason why I want to talk about it, is because it has serious legs to kind of grow into something huge and be like almost like a restart to the whole system.
See, I'm hoping they add Generation 2 Pokemon by at least like October, maybe November. Especially
Huh.
because with like winter months coming, people are going to stop going outside and playing it as much.
That's true, unless you live
Yeah.
near like where I am, or like the below the belt in the U.S. or like in other countries. I mean, Australia. Well, Australia has their seasons too, but yeah, that's true. Actually, it's winter there right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They're holding out. They're holding up okay. But back to Pokemon Go. We do this podcast once a week, and they seem to come up with updates once a week. What's something recently that's come out that's pretty new to the game, or that's either a fix or an update?
I'd say like just the stability in general has been like the biggest thing.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that just with my experience. There are far less crashes, far less, game freezes, touchscreen freezes, like we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm getting like multiple different like warning messages too, which is really exciting whenever you start the
Right.
game and it's like don't trespass on other people's property and
Don't play
it's,
while you're driving a
don't play while
car.
you're driving a vehicle. Yeah,
Yeah, I've
but
gotten that in my car multiple times. Yeah, there also seem to be some interface changes. I noticed that. I mean, one thing that really stood out to me was like that you can change your appearance now whenever you
Oh
want.
yeah.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
big one because I had like a red jacket before, and so I was like Team Instinct with a red jacket, and I felt kind of weird, so I definitely changed that like right away. Um, and those definitely seem like the main ones. That'll probably be old news like when this comes out, um,
They moved
but
the
yeah,
transfer button too.
that's
Oh, that
true.
is true too.
They put
One
it
thing
in
that they
that little like menu thing.
Right.
Yeah. One thing that they definitely need to do that I love how a lot of people who play Pokemon Go are posting pictures of what they think the interface should be like and like improvements to it. They're almost like creating like screenshots of this is how it definitely should be. And one person created a menu where you can select multiple Pokemon and just hit transfer once instead of having to do it over and over again.
Okay.
That would be
Yeah,
Yeah,
really useful.
that would be
that would
so
be
useful.
super, super useful.
Like
I'm excited for that to come out because it's inevitable. They
yeah.
have to do that.
What
They have to do that.
One thing that I also really hope is inevitable and going along the lines of just this social aspect of the game is I really hope, you have the camera, you take pictures of the Pokemon or whatnot. And maybe it does exist currently, but I just don't know about it. There really needs to be like share buttons, you know what I mean? Just to link it immediately to Twitter, to Instagram, to, wherever, and or Reddit or whatever. And
They should at least connect it to Miiverse.
yeah, at the very least, yeah, come on, this is
And then
Nintendo we're talking
somebody
about
will be using Miiverse.
here.
Right, exactly.
The
I,
first
I tried that for like a day, and I was like, wait, you're supposed to play these mini games for coins to what? Buy like furniture? I don't get it. I'm not into this. But I don't know how much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they would actually go for that, considering Nintendo doesn't really have a whole lot to do with this app, even though they do own a portion of Pokemon. But I mean, that was kind of a big thing a few weeks ago where people realized that Nintendo wasn't the sole proprietor of Pokemon Go. And when they figured that out, the stock went from super high and that huge
Yeah.
increase.
Right,
And they were
yeah.
like, wait a second, Nintendo
Wait
isn't
a
actually
minute.
going to make
Yeah.
a lot of money off this. And then it just, I don't know where it is now, but it definitely took a big hit.
Yeah.
So I think that's hilarious. And people they didn't pull any punches when they titled their articles about like, people had no idea that Nintendo has barely anything to do with this app. They're like, people are selling their stocks, realizing that Nintendo isn't going to make any money off of it.
Yeah, I heard it was
Um,
like they only make like 10% or something.
yeah, and the cell phones themselves, I know Apple makes a huge amount of money off of this, like
Huh.
upwards of I think. I mean, this is probably super wrong, but I think they make like 30 to 40% off of it just for having them on iPhone, which
Huh.
is pretty crazy. But I mean, iPhone could kind of leverage that, considering they're a huge portion of the cell phone market.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean all the in-game purchases and everything are going through their store, and yeah, I could totally see a pretty decent cut going straight to Apple or straight to the Android, to the
yeah,
Google market.
exactly. Because I mean, can you imagine if Tim Cook was like, "Nah, I don't think we're gonna do that. No thanks," and then
Yeah.
they're like, "But that's like 50% of everybody," and they're like, "Nah." So they definitely have the power to do that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so RJ, me and you were kind of talking earlier, and you said that you kind of wanted to share a certain aspect of the game that might be kind of I don't know how new this development is, but it's kind of something that might be valuable to people who are hoping to level up and become really really big players in the game. So why don't you go ahead and talk about what we're discussing here?
All right, so if you've ever played Pokemon and were into breeding or being competitive or anything like that, you know that every Pokemon game has the same theme of having your Pokemon have stats that are hidden from you. In the regular games, there were EVs and IVs, And
What's
Pokemon
an
Go,
IV?
an IV is an individual value.
Okay.
It's sort of like the genetics of that Pokemon,
Okay.
and it's just their values that are put in when the Pokemon is born or created or caught or whatever. But Pokemon Go has similar hidden values that if you want to have a Pokemon as strong as possible, you need to know about them and how to find how they work and what they do and how they actually affect this mysterious thing called CP.
Right. Right. So how exactly? I mean, so is this something that you can take note on the surface, where you look at their moves and look at like how strong their moves are, the points that can go into each move that they have? Like, how exactly do you use that to your advantage?
So the three stats that Pokemon have that the game does not show you is stamina, attack, and defense.
So how exactly? Sorry to cut you off, but how exactly do we know about that then? Is this kind of like a source code, like witchcraft kind of thing, or is this something that like that people have kind of determined or kind of pulled from other games and said, oh wait, this could be implemented in this game?
Well, I'm not sure how exactly, but the equation how CP is calculated is known.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's known, so that might have been a source code thing. If so, I'm sorry, but
Uh,
I don't know. But by knowing what CP your Pokemon has, you can calculate what these other three values are.
oh,
And I
okay.
know there's online calculators. There's like Silph Road spreadsheets that help you do it. There's even like third-party apps that'll do it for you. And so if you want to know the equation, it's not very important to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's CP equals stamina to the 0.5 power times attack times defense to the 0.5 power, all divided by 10.
So so you said so how do you? Isn't there two unknown variables in that?
There's three: stamina, attack, and defense.
Oh, right. Okay. And all you know is the CP.
hmm
So how do you use that exactly? Like, how do you narrow down what specifically the attack and the defense and the what was the other one? Stamina. How would
Yes.
you find out what those are?
You just have to use one of these online calculators that people have made. Like you'll like this. People have like crowdsourced and like made on Silph Road. I know they did it. They have a spreadsheet, and I don't think it tells you the exact value, but it'll tell you a range of values at least. But if it's
Right.
perfect, it'll tell you that it's perfect, and that's what you're looking for if you want a Pokemon that's going to be as strong as possible. Is you want a perfect one.
Yeah. I mean, if all you know is the CP, then wouldn't the ranges would be pretty huge for three unknown variables in an equation, wouldn't it?
Well, the three variables are their values, but from 0 to 15.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. But you have to use an online calculator to find that out, right?
Yeah, you have to go on Silph Road and use one of their spreadsheets or download one of these third-party apps, and it'll tell you. I think it'll tell you the percentage of like what it thinks it is. But if it's
Uh-huh.
perfect, it'll know because that's
Right.
like the easiest way. That's the easiest one to determine is if it's perfect.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
you're catching all these Pokemon and you're keeping just the ones that have high CP at the time,
Mm-hmm.
they might not necessarily, further down the road, once you max them out, they might not be as strong as some of these ones that you're transferring away.
I'll have to take a look into my level 235 Goldeen then.
So basically, you use this when you're figuring out which Pokemon you want to keep.
Yes.
And is this all determined on what the CP value is when you find it in the wild or when it's hatched? Like that determines it, and it doesn't change whether you give it candy and increase its CP value or anything?
Well, when you use the little power up, that actually raises what is its level
Mm-hmm.
because every Pokemon actually has a level.
Right.
But for
Yeah,
some reason, Niantic doesn't want to show you a simple level number. It wants to show you this
this
confusing
CP.
arc and this confusing CP number.
Yeah.
And it's also weird because every time you power it up, it doesn't go up by one level. It goes up by half a level.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, are you saying one level is like a segment of the arc?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the maximum level a Pokemon can have in this is 40, just like a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means you can use the power up on one Pokemon 80 times.
Hmm.
And so if you know its level and you know its CP, you can find these other 3 stats, and you can then find which Pokemon are going to be perfect by the time you max them out.
Okay, I think I see where you're going. Yeah, okay.
It's really confusing.
Okay, so you don't even really. Okay, yeah, that is that is really confusing. So it's not really the level, but the CP that you're looking for because
I mean, ultimately, it ends up being the what CP you are at a given level, and from there it's able to
oh right, okay,
to iterate and I guess find a certain range of levels that it could be based off of.
Like here's a
like
little
you said, the equation
perspective.
with the squares and whatnot.
Here's a little perspective of like the min-max range we're talking about here.
Right.
Like a Dragonite is like, pretty much the strongest Pokemon in this game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a Dragonite at max level with all of these IVs at 0, and a Dragonite at max level with all these IVs at 15 at max, there's a difference of about 400 CP.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
So it's not a lot if you're just a casual player and you're not maxing things out, but if you're looking to be the best there ever was, that 400 CP is going to matter.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Wow. So when you're sorting through your Pokemon, you kind of gotta shove this into the equation and kind of figure out if it's which one's stronger at any given time.
Yeah, you want to find the ones that have that potential.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that have the genes for it.
the biggest CP value to the lowest level, basically.
And that's
really
why
what
you
it
want to
comes down
save
to.
as much Stardust as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Because whenever you find one of these perfect Pokemon, their chances are they're not going to be that high.
Yeah.
Do you think that Niantic intended for this to be known?
Well, it's like I said, it's like a pillar of Pokemon. There have always been these behind the scenes stats.
Yeah.
That if you wanna max them out, at and be perfect at it, you have to know about them. And Nintendo recently, they're making these things more available. Like last generation, they added Super Training, which lets you control more of your EVs, and it shows them to you.
Okay.
And in the next generation, they're adding Hyper Training, which lets you see their
Huh.
IVs and change those.
Oh, wow. So a lot more fine tuning, a lot more getting the exact Pokemon you want.
Mm-hmm. They're really trying to open it up and have like the competitive side of it be as accessible as possible.
Huh.
So they definitely knew what they were doing when they put these hidden values in there.
So when it becomes actually competitive and people are actually fighting each other, this does make a big difference. But this kind of, I mean, how much is there left of actual skill in this game in terms of in the moment who's better? Actually giving their Pokemon commands and actually using the moves to their advantage.
Okay.
Over just kind of like how much work you put into it, how much sorting you do, and how much work you put into choosing the Pokemon that you get to keep.
I don't think this game really is in like the least bit skill based.
Yeah.
I really think it like the most skill comes into it is like resource management.
Right.
And
Yeah.
dedication. That's really as far as skill goes in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I battle, like I don't even try to dodge or anything. I just tap 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 tap.
Right.
You know.
I didn't even know you could dodge until like 2 hours ago. Like, I know, Paul, you mentioned it on the podcast, and I guess I just didn't remember that, but I was, like, watching Emily fight in one of the gyms, and she was like, I'm like, why are you swiping? And she's like, oh, I'm dodging the attacks. I'm like, what? And I literally, I guess I didn't, I guess I didn't bring this up, but I was in a gym battle, and I was literally 1 CP away from winning. And it literally looked like the Vaporeon on the other team didn't have anything left. And I was seriously calling hacks, and I was getting all pissed off in like a Baptist church parking lot by myself. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So,
I recently had a moment like that. So, like, there is a gym that is within distance of my desk at work, and so I try to keep that locked down as possible.
Oh yeah.
Because I could keep an eye on it as much as I wanted because it was right at my desk.
Right.
But I ran out of data for like the last week of July.
Oh no.
And so there's Wi-Fi at my desk, but the problem is you can't visit Pokestops if you don't have data.
Right.
Right.
If you walk from one Wi-Fi spot to another, it'll still, as long as you don't take too long, it'll still give you mileage on your eggs. And as long as you have Wi-Fi, you can still challenge the gym. But, challenging gyms takes potions.
Yeah.
And you can't get those potions if you don't have data and to visit Pokestops. So I had to take a week off of like monitoring that gym. And I come back after my cycle restarts, and the gym is a level 10 Mystic gym.
Oh my god.
And I was so angry about it. I was like, I left for a week. And you guys couldn't keep this down at all.
So, RJ, that being said, do you want to be the very best?
Absolutely.
Well, in that case, you might have to switch over to T-Mobile. Because T-Mobile has free data with Pokemon Go. Free, unlimited data. I found that out after I've already been part of T-Mobile, but that is pretty exciting for someone who wants to play Pokemon Go. Did you know that, RJ? Did you know that expert tip that I just dropped there?
I did that expert corporate tip you got there. Yeah, I did hear that.
Other cell phone carriers are available, but apparently not as good, unless they pick up this awesome marketing ploy. But they also do free streaming from YouTube and Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff. So I have to say, they are pretty good.
Dude, holy crap!
And
like that's actually enticing.
Yeah.
And the person who I bought my cell phone from actually was a gym leader at the time we were buying the cell phones off of him. So it's a pretty Pokemon friendly place. For sure. So we're going on a little bit here, and I kind of want to close up with another cheesy question round here. So you guys all know that the first weekend of the Rio Olympics 2016 has come to a close, and I have a few questions for you guys. Let's see if we can come to a consensus here. So I'm going to list a couple of events, and we're going to decide what Pokemon would win that event. How does that sound?
That sounds like a ball.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to start out with an easy one. I'm only going to do maybe like 3 of them.
Okay.
But let's go with swimming. What Pokemon would win swimming? Now that's easy because it's, you just kind of think of it. You said, who's the best swimmer? But there's so many water type Pokemon who seem like they're so good swimmers. So we have to pick which one would win.
I mean, it's got to be something that's actually fast. What's a fast?
Maybe I don't know if it would be something that's big either. Because would something that's big like a Gyarados, would that be the swimmer?
Gyarados is probably pretty fast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was one that would be faster.
Is there any water type that has like a swift or a fast attack that would be good at it?
I'm just saying there's a non-water type Pokemon who's named after Bruce Lee who has really nice legs who could totally just kick the shit out of the water.
Michael Phelps of Pokemon.
And the Michael Phelps of Pokemon, and he could totally just make a motorboat out of his legs.
Oh man,
I don't know.
that's
I
a good
think
point.
Hitmonlee could be pretty decent at swimming.
Holy cow! I'd like to see how that goes.
But Hitmonlee has little tiny baby arms.
Hey, you don't need baby arms. You can just kick. I don't know.
Man, this is a lot harder one than I thought it would be.
But does
I figured
Hitmonlee
this
even
out as
have
easy one.
knees?
I don't know. He's got like noodles.
He's got
for,
like spring feet.
Okay.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean he has like a lot of knees?
I was
He
trying to
kinda
think
looks
out of
like
the box there.
Every single, it's like joint on joint on joint.
His leg is all knees.
Yeah.
If his leg's all knees, then yeah, he wins.
Wait. That's incredible.
I think Gyarados is kind of in that camp too, isn't he? Kind of doesn't really have any knees.
He doesn't
He's
have
just
any
a
arms
serpent.
either. He's just there.
Yeah, but Gyarados
Yeah.
can swim up waterfalls. That's how he became a
Ooh,
Gyarados.
that is true.
Oh man. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Me and Emily are going through Pokemon Snap again
Oh,
for the N64.
that sounds
God, I
awesome.
love that game. It only takes like an hour and a half to beat, but
Love it.
still good. Okay, so Hitmonlee, obviously,
Obviously.
and he's what, like a fighting type?
He's got
Pokemon?
like 40
Is that what
kneecaps.
that's called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a fighter.
Okay. All right, moving on. How about, here's one. What about weightlifting?
That would be Machamp.
I was gonna say it's gotta be Machamp. He has 4 forearms.
It's got to be Gyarados. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But is he the strongest? That's the question. Maybe he'd be good at like CrossFit, but I don't know about straight up powerlifting.
But he's the most macho of all Pokemon.
He's definitely the most macho
Yeah, that's
of
true.
all the macho Pokemon.
Otherwise, it'll be like a Conkeldurr or something.
Whoa.
What is that?
I don't even know that one.
That's that big dumb guy with the big clown nose, and he's holding 2 big like concrete blocks.
Is that from another generation?
It's from Gen 5, I think.
Oh well, screw that.
What,
got
are we
garbage
only allowed to go
Pokemon.
Gen 1 here?
Yes, obviously.
Well,
yeah,
okay,
that's
that
what
makes
that's,
it a lot
obviously.
easier.
yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. We're only doing what's available in Pokemon Go. Let's see. What about table tennis?
Table
Ooh.
tennis.
See, oh man,
Oh,
I mean,
my.
Hitmonchan would be good at that too.
Alakazam,
Yeah.
he'd hit him with his little spoons.
Yeah, I was kind of that was the first thing that came to
Ah.
mind for me. He might be decent at weightlifting too. He'd just cheat and just fucking lift it anyway.
Oh, that's a good
That's
point.
disqualified. You gotta actually touch the weight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but is his mind as strong as Machamp's arms? That's the question. But Machamp has multiple arms too, so or maybe tentacle would be good because he's
Whoa.
got all those. He's got tons of tentacles.
He's got all those tentacles.
But he can't stand up. He doesn't have legs, he just has tentacles.
He can use a couple of them to stand.
He could use a couple of them to stand. How do you think Squidward does it?
Okay, who do you think then would be the fastest on land? So track and field. Who'd be up there with Usain Bolt?
Hmm.
They don't necessarily need running legs like
Like
Usain
Hitmonlee.
Bolt, or like Hitmonlee. Huh.
I mean, you got Pikachu definitely knows all sorts of like agility and quick attack and all sorts of stuff like that. Plus, he's
Oh, that is true. He
He's a
has
pretty-
an electric type.
he's a pretty
just
spry
like-
guy.
Yeah, he zips around pretty well.
I imagine a Primeape can run pretty fast.
You
Ooh,
think?
that's probably
Especially if
true.
you like pinch it or like smack it and make it like, pissed off before it goes, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
He's not very aerodynamic looking.
Yeah.
He's pretty fluffy. I feel like they would drag him down a bit. Pikachu's pretty streamlined.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got short hair. He's small. He's like literally surging with electricity, like a bolt of lightning.
Yes.
All right, I think that's pretty good. Well, gentlemen, this is a good discussion.
Yes.
I think we'll call it there.
I would actually love to know if any of our listeners have any Pokemon Olympic event pairings. So if you do, let us know in the comments section of the YouTube video or let us know on Twitter @TrainingCampPod. Also, don't forget to check out our Facebook page where we're going to be putting out updates about Pokemon Go as well as new episodes of the podcast.